What's up, my comic comrades? Marvel's Absolute Carnage event is in full swing. As a matter of fact, we already covered the first issue of the series because it's Cletus Cassidy's return as Carnage, which, as any Spider-Man fan knows, is a big freaking deal. So today we're going to continue to cover the story with issues 2 and 3, and in a few weeks we'll also be giving you the conclusion of the story with issues 4 and 5. The final 2 issues of this limited series. Because this series promises to have some big changes for Venom and the symbiotes going forward. And from what I've read so far, I think the creative team of Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman are going to deliver. But before we dive into some carnage, we want to thank Dashlane for sponsoring today's episode. In this very digital world that we live in, we need a login ID and password for almost everything we do online. The point is, it's a lot to have to remember, but that's where Dashlane comes in. Dashlane is an amazing password storage and protection app that encrypts and syncs your passwords between all of your desktop and mobile devices. In fact, Dashlane has a strong password generator that helps you create unique and insanely complex passwords for every single account you own. Then all you need to remember is one master password. And the best part is, you're the only one with the key to your vault, because the app then stores and decrypts your information locally on your device using your master password, which even Dashlane can't see. But on top of protecting your passwords, you can also use Dashlane to save and autofill your personal information, like your address and your phone number to quick fill online forms, or your credit card information for faster checkout when making purchases. Dashlane also offers dark web monitoring and will alert you if any of your accounts might be affected by an outside data breach. Altogether, Dashlane is the only tool you'll need to make your online life a lot safer and easier. Just click the link in the description below or head over to dashlane.com/variant to get a free 30-day trial of Dashlane Premium and put your digital life on lockdown. With that said, this episode will obviously have tons of spoilers for the Absolute Carnage event thus far. It should go without saying, but the internet is a funny place. In any case, spoilers galore. Ready, set, go. Now, if you've read Absolute Carnage 1 or watched our video on it, you know at the end of the issue, Carnage releases and infects Norman Osborn with the Carnage symbiote while saying, "I came here to make friends," leaving us with a massive cliffhanger. So, let's see what happens from here. Issue 2 starts off with Cletus narrating saying stuff like, "If I kill enough and awake my god, then this world falls under a waterfall of blood and enters a new universe of dark. And oh boy, I will be there sucking the last sweet shivering breath out of its rotting maggot-filled bloated corpse." Yeah, and that's just a portion of what he says. It's a hell of a way to kick off an issue. The next page then shows Carnage, his horde, and an infected Osborn on the assault against Spider-Man and Venom. But Venom is able to punch through the prison wall and fly him and Spider-Man away. Because if you didn't know, as of Donny Cates' Venom series, Venom now has wings and can fly. In any case, back at the prison, Osborn's like, "We need to go after them." And Cassidy says the young wolf runs, and he kills one. The old wolf walks and kills them all. Osborn's like, "What are you talking about?" Cassidy replies, "There are more spiders where they came from, Osborn. You just have to disturb the right web." Meanwhile, Spider-Man and Venom regroup. Peter then goes to gather some fellow heroes for reinforcements, while Eddie makes a call to the Maker, checking on his son Dylan. While talking to the Maker tells Eddie, "I had a couple of minutes during lunch, so I hacked into the FBI's database, and there's something I need to tell you about the mass grave Carnage dug up." Eddie replies, "What is it? Did they find my wife Annie?" And Maker says, "That's just it, Eddie. Her body wasn't there. Carnage didn't dig up your wife." And Eddie replies, "But that makes no sense. She wore the symbiote. She would have had a codex in her." Maker tells him, "I don't believe she did when she died, Eddie. I believe Dylan is that codex. I believe she passed it down to him." Do you know what this means, Edward? Well, first and foremost, I gotta say, holy crap, it means that Dylan has the symbiote within his DNA, but it also means that Dylan is now a target for Carnage. After this, we then see the Carnage horde is growing and growing, which obviously isn't good. We are then brought to Carnage's lair, called the Spire, which is miles under the streets of New York. It's here we see Norman Osborn and Carnage bickering, to which Cassidy tells Norman, "I'm trying to wrap my hand around a planet's throat, Norman. Do us a favor and shut the hell up." Osborn says, "What did you just call me?" And Cassidy replies, "I called you Norman, because that's who you are." Little Norman Osborn playing dress up because I allow it, because it amuses me. But let's get one thing straight. There's only one Carnage in this house. And he says this to Osborn as he's ripping the Carnage symbiote off his face before throwing him to the ground. Norman then just looks up at Cassidy and says, "When are you gonna get off your butt and start this little spree of yours gathering the codices? Also, you know one of us is gonna have to die to collect all the pieces of the codex." Cassidy just looks at him and laughs, saying, "What do you think I've been doing? Look around. We then get a huge splash page that shows us scenes from several tie-ins consisting of Carnage-possessed characters and symbiotes like Scream, Hybrid, and so on, gathering codices for him. The next page then shows us Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Mac Gargan's Scorpion fighting off Carnage's horde because, well, they want Gargan as he possesses a codex since he was once Venom. Crazy thing is, Miles doesn't even have to be there because he was never infected with a symbiote. He's just doing what's right because, as he said, I'm Spider-Man, and this is what Spider-Man does. He fights dumb alien monsters. Anyway, with the horde being distracted by Miles, Scorpion runs off, but is stopped by Venom, who's like, where do you think you're going? Get back in there and help save the boy. But when Venom throws him back in there, he's caught by Norman Carnage, who catches him with one hand in midair and then stabs him in the back with a tendril, taking his codex. But before he can get all of it, Miles Morales breaks free from the horde, jumping out and giving a solid right hook to Carnage's head. This lets Venom pick up Gargan and help him out of there because he can't feel his legs anymore. It seems that the stab in his back paralyzed him from the waist down. But while Eddie is getting away with Mac, Norman Carnage is able to capture Miles, and him and his horde start to infect Miles, giving us Carnage Miles Morales as the issue ends. Freaking nuts. Issue 3 then starts off with Venom narrating saying, I lost the kid. Carnage turned him, took him, dragged him, drowning him in the black and red. The Carnage horde grows stronger by the day. We then see an 8-legged doppelganger infected Miles Morales holding Venom down by the throat. And let me just say, this is everything I didn't know I wanted. Hasbro, you need to make a Build-A-Figure of this because, quite frankly, I want it. The Venom symbiote then tells Eddie, I know this isn't your fault, but we've had enough. Kill him, Eddie. Now we have to end this. We cannot let him. And Eddie interrupts saying, the kid isn't in control. Just calm down. It's at this point we see the Carnage symbiote lifting a car over his head, about to smash it on top of Eddie. And the Carnage symbiote says, haha, oh, is Daddy scared? Because remember, Carnage is the spawn of Venom, hence the daddy reference. Eddie then tells Carnage, we don't want to have to kill you, Norman. We're trying to help you, trying to fix your grandson, Normie. We could help you too. This weakens him for a second, making him vulnerable, showing his human self, at which point the Venom symbiote takes matters into his own hands and stabs Osborn in the chest. Eddie says, what the heck? You just stabbed him in the heart. Venom says, yes, I did. We have to finish this. We have to kill him and take his codex before my spawn can repair him. But Eddie separates himself from the symbiote and is like, fine. Go do it then. I won't have any part of it. I'm gonna help Mac. This pisses off Venom, so he's like, fine, and bonds with Eddie again. But Venom says, but don't be mad at me when we lose. So Venom saves Mac from the horde and swings away while Venom tells Eddie, understand this. If you are not strong enough to end this, I will find someone else who is. Eddie then takes Mac to the Maker's headquarters for medical attention, where he's greeted by Spider-Man, the Thing, Captain America, and Wolverine. We also learned that the Maker ran away when he found out that the Thing was there because, let's just say they don't have a good history. But it's no biggie because Bruce Banner is also there, who understands all of the science that the Maker was working on and confirms that the machine the Maker made will be able to remove the codex from anyone who was ever infected by a symbiote. And first to get the codex removed from his body is Captain America. We then see Eddie watching as he's sedated in the machine and then get a close-up look of an evil grin on his face. And then on the next page, we see that's because that's not the real Eddie. It's Cletus Cassidy Carnage camouflaged as Eddie. He reveals himself and tells Banner, Spider-Man, and Eddie, I've heard it all, you know. I'm this way because of abuse, because of video games, or sex and violence on TV. Because of guns and knives and the wickedness of this mean old world. But what none of you get is those things didn't make me what I am. I am made of them. I am abuse. I am sex and violence. I am the guns and the knives and the wickedness of this whole sick world. You know my name, now scream it. As he turns full Carnage and his horde busts into the lab. Now I've read thousands of comics over the years and I'm telling you right now, that is easily one of the most metal pieces of dialogue I've ever heard a villain say. Holy crap. After that epic villain monologue, the Venom symbiote is like, no more running, we finished this. And Eddie's trying to hold Venom back saying, no damn it, not now, don't do this. I have to take care of my child, who's currently in the building. But Venom just replies, and so do I. Ho ho ho, cause Carnage is his child. Oh, snap! The Venom symbiote then leaves Eddie, and Eddie yells, what are you doing? Where are you going? And Venom replies, I told you, Eddie, if you weren't strong enough to end this, I will find someone else who is. We then see Venom bond with freaking Bruce Banner, to which Banner says, oh God. Banner then just falls on the floor and Carnage says, well, that was a bit anticlimactic. I don't know who this nerd is supposed to be, but... And then on the last page, Banner stands up, full Hulk mode, with the symbiote covering him while saying, we are Hulk, as the comic ends. Talk about another crazy cliffhanger. In issue 2, we got a doppelganger / Carnage infected Miles Morales. And now in issue 3, we got Venomized Hulk. This series is just getting crazier and crazier. I'm digging it so much. And I think I said it in the last Absolute Carnage episode, but I just love how writer Donny Cates and artist Ryan Stegman are using Carnage Mind Bomb as a big inspiration for this book. If you've read Carnage Mind Bomb, you can totally tell that's where they're pulling inspiration from. And let me just say, Carnage Mind Bomb is a crazy read, and it's one of my favorite Carnage stories, if not my favorite. Actually, in our Carnage's Most Evil Moments episode, we pulled most of the moments from that comic. That's how rugged Carnage Mind Bomb is. In any case, let us know what you think of Absolute Carnage thus far in the comment section below. First up for the week of the 25th, we have Harleen issue 1. This is an all-new series for Miss Quinzel on DC's Black Label that gives us another retelling of her origin and shows us a cure that she has for the madness in Gotham City. Now we have Batman Superman issue 2. Putting it simply, Batman and Superman fight the Shazam who laughs in this issue. Here we have the Flash issue 79. The Speed Force claims its first victim, forcing the Flash to reconsider whether the Speed Force is worth saving. Next up we have Powers of 10 issue 5. Sinister does what he does best, and the future comes to an end. The future of the X-Men begins here. And finally, we have Absolute Carnage Miles Morales issue 2. Miles sacrificed himself to save others, but now is infected by Carnage. And we saw how that happens in today's episode. And this is a tie-in series that expands on that story. And that's going to bring another episode of Variant to a close. But if you like this video, be sure to check out our first video on Absolute Carnage right here. And if you like the channel, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.